Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hit subscribe right this second. We're on our way to 120,000 subscribers. We have pound for pound the best live chat on YouTube. We have 5 moderators, and we have the most wonderful people. Trump supporters are the most wonderful people. Whenever, because this guy is a Jewish guy, whenever I have anti-Semitic trolls that come on this channel, I have my Trump supporters who protect me, who defend me. This channel is the living embodiment of the destruction of the propaganda regarding Trump supporters. I've never met the more nicer, open-minded people. And what can I tell you? Thank you so very much. We have a lot to talk about. And if you didn't get notification, let people know about this live stream. But thank you so very, very, very much. It's going to be an amazing, amazing discussion. To give you a quick summary before we really get started, George Papadopoulos is one of the first people. Eric, H526. Hello, Hal, and everyone. Love you all. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Eric, H526. You look at CNN, you look at Fox, you look at all the reporting regarding this. There's a Hill article. Oh, sorry, businessinsider.com. George Papadopoulos' wife is trying to scrap her husband's plea deal with Mueller, and her comments could have huge ripple effects in the Russia probe. George Papadopoulos' wife is an extremely intelligent woman. She knows exactly what's going on. Papadopoulos should never have made a plea deal with the FBI. Even at that time, before Peter Strzok, before Andrew McCabe, I think McCabe was already either gone. No, he wasn't gone yet, I don't think. But he should never have pled guilty to lying about something that was never a crime to begin with. Number one, it was never a crime, nor was it incriminating to speak to Papadopoulos, to speak to Downer, or Professor Mifsud. You cannot prove that Professor Mifsud had dirt on Hillary from the Russians or some kind of connection with the Russians if you don't interview him. You have to have evidence of a crime. If you do not have evidence of a crime, you cannot go ahead and, if you want to use the term weaponize, you cannot go ahead and say, oh, he went ahead and spoke to the Russians. Professor Mifsud, Natalia Veselnitskaya is not, quote unquote, they're both not the Russians. They're not Putin. If you want to talk about somebody that actually met with Vladimir Putin, it's Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton actually met with Vladimir Putin. Bill Clinton actually met with Vladimir Putin. And this was during the uranium sale. That was Newsweek. So let's just go ahead. If you did not get notification, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and share this segment. Good Chavez. Thank you, Duncan. Thank you. Hello, Inside Scarlet. Hello, everyone. So if you didn't get notification, please share it to my super chat. Thank you so very, very much. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated all your support. But let's go ahead. And George Papadopoulos' wife is trying to scrap her husband's plea deal with Mueller, and her comments could have huge impact. Well, of course they can. Of course. The issue here is why he pled guilty to. It's what they've done is they've fabricated a crime, and then when people are like, well, no, not really. I mean, I don't remember speaking to Mifsud about that. I don't remember speaking to Papadopoulos about that. They're like, oh, you're lying. You're lying. You can't go ahead and fabricate an investigation and then pretend that people are lying or accuse people of lying and then say, well, they're lying because there's an overall crime that we're getting close to uncovering. That makes no sense. Jeff, hello. Hello, everyone. I appreciate it. If you did not get the toggle of Bilgun, hello. If you did not get the notification, please let everyone know. Share this segment. So George Papadopoulos' wife is trying to scrap her husband's plea deal with Mueller, and her comments could have huge ripple effects in the Russia probe. The wife of George Papadopoulos, a former foreign policy advisor on President Trump's campaign, is trying to scrap her husband's plea deal with the special counsel Robert Mueller. One former federal prosecutor said he sees the attempt as part of a larger effort of Trump's allies to discredit the Mueller and Russia investigation. Everyone should discredit the Mueller and Russia investigation. It's an investigation without a predicate crime. Nobody knows specifically what took place. There is not one person on the planet, regardless of what you read, because what they'll say is concluded. There's a unanimous assessment. It's not certain. If you read the Office of Director of National Intelligence and Department of Homeland Security and FBI reports, there are only two reports. Only three agencies, the FBI, NSA, CIA, only three agencies said they're moderately to highly confident, and nobody got to look at the DNC servers. It is the biggest. If you played poker with a guy who was horrible at poker, didn't know what he was doing, constantly bluffed, you would call his bluff all the time. They have nothing on Papadopoulos because he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. That's the thing. It's like you go ahead and you start an investigation without any evidence, without any certainty, without any crime that's said to have been certainly committed, and you run with it. Do people know the Facebook ads that influenced voters in swing states? How did she get the popular vote if Russia meddled in the election? Tamara Friedman, thank you so much, Tamara Friedman. You are absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Tamara. Hope you're having a great weekend. Thank you, Tamara Friedman. Tamara, if you ever want to be moderator, you can be the 6th moderator. Let me know. And I'll read you. So George Papadopoulos, a former foreign policy advisor on President Donald Trump's campaign, struck a deal with special counsel Robert Mueller's office last October when he admitted to one count of lying to the FBI. Lying to the FBI when you have corrupt FBI agents is not a crime. Shouldn't be a crime. They don't even record. It's all subjective. It's all a 302. It's all the notes they take. They don't even record their interviews. You might not actually lie. It's all subjective. That has to change. It's ridiculous. Now his wife, Simone Maggiant, is pulling out all the stops to scrap the plea deal just 3 weeks before her husband is scheduled to be sentenced. He should, because the whole thing is coming crashing down. Take Mueller on in court. He couldn't even get the jury to convict Manafort within a day. So if you're looking at victories from the Democratic Party perspective, then it's a wonderful moral victory. So Tamara Friedman, thank you so very much. Tara Mama, thank you. And in particular, Mangiant took to Twitter. took on Twitter calling for a pro bono lawyer to represent her husband in the effort. Yes, Papadopoulos has largely remained silent. With the exception of a tweet Friday night saying that he was looking forward to celebrating his birthday over the weekend with his beautiful and supporting wife. Let me tell you something. Papadopoulos is a lucky guy. And I have a beautiful and supporting wife, and I'm very, very lucky too. But Papadopoulos has a beautiful supporting wife who's sticking by him and defending him in front of the whole world. So George Papadopoulos is very, very lucky. He is very, very lucky. And he should listen to his wife's advice, or his fiancée, no, his wife's advice. You should definitely listen to his wife's advice because she's right. She is a lot more intelligent than any of the pundits. And I hope that they get a reality show or something. Well, maybe not a reality show because I want their marriage to last. But I hope they get some kind of justification. And then you have, I mean, before I get into it, I'll just go on a tangent here. And then you have Elizabeth Warren, the Accountability Capitalism Act. Oh my goodness. This is the same Elizabeth Warren who didn't, when the chips were down, who didn't endorse Bernie Sanders. This is the same Elizabeth Warren who talked about breaking up too big to fail banks. I used to love Elizabeth Warren, and I wrote an article saying that she should be the first president of the United States, first female president. And the knock on me on Twitter with this hilarious. A lot of people don't like me on Twitter, which is hilarious. They're like, he's crazy, he's insane. Why am I crazy and insane for writing an article about Elizabeth Warren or Rand Paul or 100 plus about Bernie? Anyone's better than Hillary Clinton. It's funny how people on Reddit don't realize that I was saying Clinton would lose to Trump forever. Then I read on Reddit, like people are like, not that I care that much, but it's just amusing. People are like, oh, he hated Hillary more than he liked Bernie. Well, that's ridiculous. You don't write 100 articles plus in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Cleveland Plain Dealer, The Jerusalem Post, saying that Bernie beats Clinton and why he's so much better if you don't really care about Bernie at that point. Sherlock Collins, great photo yesterday with Brandon Straka. Beautiful photo. Sherlock Collins, beautiful inside and out. Hi, HA, what are your thoughts on CNN, Washington Post, AP, New York Times, NBC, Politico, and BuzzFeed filing a motion to have a court release names and home addresses of all jurors in the Paul Manafort case? Yeah, what WTF? Exactly. Well, what do they want to do? They want to go ahead and berate, and exactly. So everyone subscribe to Sherlock Collins. She's absolutely wonderful. She's a beautiful, amazing voice. Subscribe to Sherlock Collins, everyone, right now, all 356 people. If you didn't get notification, please go ahead and share this segment on Facebook. New York May, hello. So everyone on Facebook and Twitter and Minds and Gab, wherever you're at. Sherlock Collins, they could not go ahead and in a slam dunk case, they could not go ahead. There weren't enough ostrich skin jackets. There were not enough panda skin underwear. Baby seal sport coats. The guy is tacky. One thing you could say about Manafort is he's rich and tacky. Okay? That's what happens when you're so rich. You're like, I'm so rich. What am I going to get? I have not. Okay, crocodile underwear, fine. fine. It's just $500 because if it's not $500, I'm not buying it. Fine, crocodile under. Fine. He's so rich, and he was like, look at my ostrich skin jacket, everybody. It's fantastic. But you can't, but that doesn't make him Charles Manson. And they can't even get a guilty verdict within a day of the trial. And this is, you have the full force of the United States government. Well, at least part of the United States government, still beholden to Hillary Clinton. She fabricated everything. There's zero evidence of anything. There's not one person in America who looked at a Facebook ad of Buff Bernie and said, I'm voting for Bernie. There's not one person. ACU or hello. And Shalak Collins, and you brought up a great point. Everybody, subscribe to her channel. She needs to get well over 4,000. She needs 100,000. She's a great voice. But what took place is that they know they're losing, so they're like, this is plan B. And I can tell you something from the left, and they're censoring people, and they're like, oh my God, no hate speech. They're the most hate-filled. People on the left are the most hate-filled. Stefan Haslam, thank you so much. Stephen or Stefan Haslam, thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you so very, very much. Stefan Haslam, thank you so much. Stefan Haslam, thank you. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you so very, very much. Nico Filippone, Trump for HA. Nico, thank you. Stefan or Stephen, thank you so very, very much. I want to make sure that with Stefan, thank you so very much. Shalak Collins, what they're doing is they're trying to intimidate and bully and harass. That happened to me. That happened to me a lot. And it not only, and it made me Teflon in a way, in my own little way. They try to attack me all the time, and I just laugh, and it's hilarious, and it's funny. And Shala, when you get to 100, because you will, because you have a beautiful, amazing, great voice, you'll get to 100,000. And then hopefully I'll get to 200,000. I'm sure we'll get. I'm sure I'll do very well because everything's going to pretty much. What I'm saying is going to take place. Will almost certainly take place, like Clinton losing, like the Russia probe crashing and burning. But Shala, get ready for the haters and ignore them. Use them for motivation, because when your voice starts getting heard, you will get so many haters. And that's it. The haters, they just love to hate, and they love to, they think that intimidating and bullying. The Democratic Party, you cannot get more hate-filled, wrapped within the guise of social justice warrior, liberal Democrat. The liberal Democrat, the Democratic loyalists, the Democratic, the I'm with her crowd, and the social justice warrior, like, oh, I'm so hip and cool crowd. They work in tandem with each other. They pretend to dislike each other, but they work in tandem to just keep everyone on the left in line. And if you say one wrong thing, if you do one wrong thing, they will try and destroy your voice, and it doesn't work. Thank you, Pro America USA. Thank you. Thank you, ACUR, for being one of the regulators, one of the moderators. There was a journalist from an organization that shall remain nameless now, who spent a half an hour hating on me on the organization Facebook page. Didn't stop me. Daily Beast wrote a hit piece on me with a disingenuous journalist. Didn't even answer his call. He still wrote the hit piece, and the whole hit piece was, oh my God, he doesn't want to speak to the Daily Beast because I was a Bernie Sanders supporter. That's how much they love socialism now. I never viewed Bernie as socialist. And then you have Bernie, who is fomenting Trump Russia, which Trump Russia is exactly the Trump Russia myth says that Bernie Sanders was a Russian operative. Okay, and it was a Russian plot. To vote for Bernie was a Russian plot. To vote for the Green Party was a Russian plot. And all the hate. Thank you. What, why, and whose? Thank you. So remember, Sherlock Collins, when you just, they're going to, who knows who the haters are going to be, but you have to either ignore them, laugh at them, use them for fuel, and then know you're doing something right. There's one publication there's one guy who wrote literally 4 or 5 hit pieces on me. It's like an obsession. Washington Post actually didn't even write hit pieces on me. They actually wrote some interesting things that would be like, you see what this guy's doing? And I'm like, hey, that's actually cool. But Papadopoulos should never, ever, ever have. You can't go ahead if you know. And Manafort, if you are being tried for Russian interference, all you need to do is look at the actual intelligence reports that say confidence. Let's go look at the intelligence reports. It takes a second. It takes a second. And one part of the bill that Elizabeth Warren is pushing is to give control of the top firms, cede control of top firms to workers. Like, why? How is that even legal? You don't own the firm. The government just can't write a bill that says, oh, by the way, we're going to either retroactively or, top corporations now have to give control. Yeah, I get it. If it works, but it works in Denmark, it works in, that's fine. We're not, this is the thing. We're not Australia. We're not Denmark. We're not Sweden. We're not other countries. We're America. We've already had, in terms of Standard Oil, a breakup of, antitrust laws, anti-monopoly laws. Breaking up too big to fail banks is not like it's happened. That type of thing has taken place in our history. Giving the government control of companies has not. It's a stupid bill in so many ways. Just reading the Vox article. The Vox article defending it is hilarious because what Vox did, and I wrote this on Twitter, Ezra Klein interviewed Bernie Sanders, and it was a seemingly benign interview, but there were a lot of hidden, like Mr. Klein stated to Bernie, this is on YouTube. I think it's probably on the Vox channel, where he's like, so you're a socialist. And Bernie was like, no, democratic socialist. The reason he said socialist was because because Vox obviously aligned itself with Hillary Clinton. And at that point, that was the socialist scare. Oh my God, Bernie's a socialist. Bernie's a socialist. Well, now Democrats, of course, have taken a 180 because he's not a threat. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is not a threat to the establishment. What they do is they rally everyone, all the progressives together, and they say, oh, well, go ahead. We can give you single payer, just trust us. And it'll never, ever, ever, ever happen with the current establishment in the Democratic Party. Furthermore, it's probably not feasible I've never really, to tell you the truth, I always viewed single payer as something that had to happen because I was a progressive, but I never really, and I said, well, my whole thing was if you bring American soldiers home from war, you could then fund a great deal of it. But even that might not be just enough to go ahead and Medicare for all 300 plus million. Well, it works in other countries. Well, it doesn't mean that it's going to work here for a lot of reasons. Medicare doesn't work perfectly here either. I have viewers who are Max, who was on, telling me about all the problems with Medicare. And I apologize. Who did I miss? Agent Pepsi 1. What scares me is that Dems are trying to intimidate and bribe Manafort jurors and judge, as they did with New Jersey Senator Mendez. Yep. Prawn D. Good work, HA. Keep up the good work, HA. Thank you, Prawn D. Thank you. Prawn D. Thank you. Agent Pepsi 1. Thank you. Yes, I think, though, the jurors are smart enough to realize that if they vote not guilty, or if it's a hung jury, they can then get $1 million book deal. The jurors aren't stupid. And it's not like Hillary Clinton, who actually committed crimes, specific crimes, and got away with it and will eventually be charged. Got away with it because of Strzok and McCabe and Comey, all fired. Absolutely, the indictments are imminent in the future, near future, in the future, let's say. October 2016 to present, absolutely. I agree 100% with you. Hillary will get indicted, and please come back and watch this channel when it happens, when everybody says, oh my God, who could even have thought this took place? She committed crimes. And finally, she's charged with an actual crime, campaign finance reform, RICO laws regarding Clinton Foundation, Espionage Act crimes. Comey, Strzok, McCabe were all fired. They covered them up. Lisa Page, the beautiful Lisa Page, Sally Mueller, all of them. Now they're actually being, according to Christopher Wray, investigated by the Office of Professional Responsibility. James Clapper has lost his security clearance. 2 giant jets were part of a drug bust, because we know that Little Rock, Arkansas, the drug empire there, takes copious notes and uses Quicken and goes ahead and documents everything with loads and loads of boxes and boxes being loaded onto giant DOJ planes. And there's a DOJ email probe. There's an FBI Clinton Foundation probe. Isn't it strange that OB and HC have gone quiet? Jack, I think that Hillary Clinton is just waiting. She knows she's going to get charged eventually. She doesn't care. I think that Hillary knows. Thank you. Metzelenko, thank you. A great Australian, one of the greatest people in human history, Julian Assange, from Australia, should be free. He's one of the most important people in the history of the world, I'd say. And I believe eventually he'll be free. But yeah, Alexander Downer, I call him affectionately Alexander Dumbo Downer. Why would you go ahead? Let's go ahead first and look at listen to Papadopoulos's wife.
Opening doors with Cologuard. Turning 50 opens the door to a lot of new things. Turning to our other top story tonight, and cases don't, first of all, Papadopoulos, who's a central figure. So seriously,
how could Papadopoulos be a central figure? So this is MSNBC. How on earth could Papadopoulos be a central figure? Because of a conversation. How does that even work?
Well, last year, Trump campaign was his wife, and she.
This is Fox.
Her husband to scrap his plea deal. She joins us tonight. Mr. Papadopoulos, thank you for coming on. So you think your husband's got a better shot in court during a trial? Is that the thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are many evidences already in the public domain that shows that the situation smells more entrapment setups than any attempt to collusion. I would like to make a point which is clear. All the crossfire hurricane operation started based on the allegation of Clinton allies.
All the crossfire hurricane investigation started based on allegations from Clinton allies. You couldn't even get fired from a corporation. I've worked for many corporations in my life. Okay, if somebody said, "Hey, I know, hey, Bob was drinking a margarita in his cubicle. Just want to let you know." Okay, fire him. Okay, fire him. If you have no evidence, that Bob was drinking a margarita in his cubicle, then you can't fire the guy. This is all hearsay and gossip. It's the stupidest thing in the world. And I'm telling you, and I love WikiLeaks. I love Julian Assange. And what they did was 100% noble. And what they did was publish the truth. And what happened was the Democrats said, oh my God, you published the truth. So we're going to go ahead and use gossip and lies and hearsay and innuendo and conjecture and hyperbole as the truth. That'll be just like the truth. Pompeo and Sessions, I think, though, want whatever the deep state wants, which is, of course, to go after Assange, but all the fuel for this, the hatred, is the Democratic Party. There's no organic, there's no, like, you know, Pompeo tweeted WikiLeaks emails. You know, he knows they're not threats to national security. But getting back to if you're in court, this is a slam dunk case for the defense. Where's the evidence? Oh, well, he did this and this and that. But here's the actual. So George Papadopoulos' wife should simply go ahead and look at. You go ahead, Russia step, ODNI, Google, assessment. The whole thing starts with assessing Russian activities. It's an assess. Oh, a declassified version of a highly classified assessment. So a highly classified assessment. It's not certain of anything. High confidence. High confidence generally indicates the judgments are based on high quality information from multiple sources. Okay, you know what this is called in real life? Manure. Bandini. Manure from bulls. What is that called? Okay, so confidence levels, high confidence. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. Again, high confidence does not imply that an assessment is a fact or certain or certainty. So I have no idea if this is. So I'm going to follow George Papadopoulos on Twitter. And simply go ahead. I'll follow both of them. My God almighty. Here. Very simple. Here's the defense. Very, very simple. My God almighty. I have no idea if I'm following the right people. I think I am. But I'm just going to go ahead. Here's the defense. God, why is this so difficult? Here's the defense. Dear George Papadopoulos and Mrs. George Papadopoulos. Of course, people are going to say, how dare you say Mrs. George Papadopoulos? She has her own name. I don't know. I'm from the 80s, so just chillax. So George Papa 19, okay, is that okay? Here, simply go ahead. You simply go ahead. Here is the defense. I'm doing it for free. God bless you. I want you to prevail because the Mueller probe is evil. And the Democratic Party is evil. They know they're lying. Page 23. Right here. Page 23. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. High confidence in a here you go. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment, let's see where my brain, high confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. There you go. Is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. There you go. The ODNI report clearly states that nothing is certain with Mueller probe. Nothing is certain. So there you go. There you go. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. It's pretty simple. You go to page 23. Sorry. Is that page? Yeah. Hold on. Page 23 of the PDF. It says page 13 here. It's page 23 of the PDF. There you go. How hard is that? You defend yourself from that vantage point. It's all gossip and hearsay. No judge is going to... The reason they didn't go after Mueller or Manafort for colluding with Russia is because they have nothing. Because they have nothing. And it's a whole bunch of nonsense. And it's all gossip. It's gossip and hearsay. It's gossip and hearsay. They got him on lying to the FBI. They got Flynn and Papadopoulos and the Dutch lawyer for lying to the FBI because they have nothing on Flynn. They have nothing on Papadopoulos. They have nothing on anybody. They have nothing on any of them. And Democrats are so stupid and inept and a bunch of imbeciles that they're like, oh, well, you know, all you have to do is, show that these people were criminals by indicting them and hurting them on charges that have nothing to do with the overall claims. None of this is based. None. Absolutely none of this. Jack Gold, thank you. To my super chat, thank you so very much. 600 people watching. So let's continue. She is extremely beautiful and extremely intelligent.
Alexander Downer, who reported to have a conversation over drinks in London with George, who were allegedly referring about the famous dirt on Hillary Clinton. That's Mifsud gossiped about. So
Mifsud is nowhere to be found. The professor from Gilligan's Island you could get to easier than Mifsud. The Professor Mifsud. Alexander Dumbo Downer, Professor Mifsud, Natalia Veselnitskaya, none of these people have been speaking to Mueller. It's all smoke, and it all emanates from Clinton. When people say, when I tell people that Clinton still controls the Democratic Party, you're crazy, she's just like Michael Dukakis. No, she's not. Michael Dukakis went into the tank, and that was done. It was over after that. And I used to like Michael Dukakis. I used to like Mario Cuomo. I used to like all the Democrats. I was a Democrat my whole life. Now Andrew Cuomo's like, we've never been We've never been a great country. It's never been great. Never been great. We'll get to that in a second.
At the time of their meeting room. Now we know that this person was affiliated to the Clintons. George has no recollection to ever said anything alike to Alexander Donner. Mifsud stated...
So he never said anything to stupid Dumbo Downer. Okay, the guy is part of one of the reasons $88 million went from Australian taxpayer money. If you are in Australia right now, God bless you. One of the most famous people in world history, one of the great people in world history, Julian Assange, is from Australia. He's Australian. But this is Australian taxpayer money, by the way. By the way. I did research on the London bar. You want to know what a drink is? Drink costs a lot. It's one of those bars where it's like, oh, it's like $13, $15, $16 for a martini. All right, you're going to stop at one martini? Okay. You're going to stop at, you think they're going to get like crappy wine? No. You know, dinner? Come on. Between two guys, easily $300, $400, $500, depending on what they were drinking. And especially if Alexander Downer's like, well, tell me more, 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 tell me more. And why trust Downer? Why trust Mifsud? Papadopoulos, unfortunately, was the fall guy. Christian O'Brien. Boy, smoke is eliminated from Clinton. We can only be... Christian O'Brien, thank you. One of the great teachers I ever had in my life was a history teacher named Mr. O'Brien. He was one of the great teachers, one of the great people, one of the great human beings I've ever met in my life. He was a great guy. Great man. A great man, Mr. O'Brien. But let's listen to Mrs. George Papadopoulos.
Clearly, to the Italian journal La Repubblica, that is a Clinton allies, actually said many times a member of the Clinton Foundation. And today, yes. It's speculated that the Mifsud is a Russian spy who tried to...
Mifsud can't be a Russian spy because he has ties to British intelligence, and that story was broken by Elizabeth Voss of Disobedient Media. So George Papadopoulos' wife is 100% right. She's 100% correct.
With Trump campaign, specifically with George. Now, President Trump is saying that his campaign has been the target of foreign intelligence, Obama, Clinton allies, spies to infiltrate the campaign. My husband, I wanted to be the secretary.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but we've got 30 seconds to 20 seconds. Is your husband going to withdraw the plea deal? Yes or no? Do you think?
That's my suggestion.
You would be a fool to go ahead and give Mueller a win. Mueller's nightmare is to actually prove himself. Mueller's like, I had to actually defend the indictment. That's why with Manafort, they're going to get a hung jury, and it's going to be like do you understand the meltdown of CNN? All of them. I've been on CNN. I've been on MSNBC. I've been on RT. And I can tell you that RT is more honest in terms of like trying to find truth, even though, yeah, it's Russian-owned, fine. But it's not aligned directly with the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party does not have America's interests in mind. It has its own interests in mind. To think that MSNBC is more trustworthy than RT simply because MSNBC parrots every single thing Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Donna Brazile and Hillary Clinton and Don Perez and all of them want communicated is absurd. They are today's McCarthy-era Republicans. And then they use phrases like Orwellian. They have no idea. They know the concept of history. George Orwell would view them. Sure, Orwell might not like Fox, but he would view the censorship, the paranoia that Russia hacked the election, the blaming of another country, the xenophobia, the calling everyone a Russian spy, a Russian operative on Twitter. Orwell would hate that. They have no concept of any sense of history, grasp of history, grasp of any value system from people who called it. George Orwell called this. When media becomes entertainment under the guise of, when intelligence communities, or when the CIA, the FBI, all of them, when the Democratic Party cozies up to and kisses the behind of people like Brennan, and then has Podesta on the Washington Post and Brennan at MSNBC, this is not America's establishment. It's the Democratic Party's establishment. Go to the rifle range. You will see veterans, and you will see people of all different. You'll see Black Americans, Middle Eastern Americans, Latino Americans, Asian Americans. You'll see young. You'll see old. You'll see women. You'll see men. That is America. That is not MSNBC. The latte Merlot drinking MSNBC. Oh, he's so boorish. That's one aspect of America from LA and New York. And even within LA and New York, you have people like me who can't stand that mentality. MSNBC and the Democratic Party and CNN, all of them are like, oh, well, look at the intelligence establishment and the community. And they feel, no, nobody cares about Russian hacking. Nobody cares about Russian hacking. You lost because actually Clinton did commit crimes. She did commit crimes. And the Democrats like to pretend that they're defending America by saying, oh, Trump capitulated to Putin. Nobody cares about that. People want good relations with Russia, you imbeciles, you idiots, you buffoons, you fools. And they're going to get obliterated again in the midterms. And thank you, Andrew Cuomo. Thank you, because I'm going to replay all the times that I've stated on RT, here, everywhere. I've stated that they will lose in midterms. They will lose in the midterms. They will lose in the midterms. Why? Because of Andrew Cuomo. Because of Elizabeth Warren. Nobody even trusts her on the left. I used to be on the left. Trust me. They still remember. Luke St. Martin. Don't mess with Luke St. Martin. Don't do it. Don't mess with the regulators on this channel. Don't do it. Thank you. Horace. Liberal Democrats have apparently resorted to gaslight. Never. Oh, I didn't see such a thing. Horace, you're 100% right. They're gaslighting themselves. They're gaslighting themselves. And it's true. It's true. And George Papadopoulos' wife is 100% correct. 100% right. If they don't get Manafort, if they, first of all, also the jurors should understand. And then you have my God, they've spent 30 hours sharing details from Mueller probe. White House counsel. What is this fake, ridiculous, dumb probe? It's so dumb. And the Mueller jury should understand that they're next from the IRS. Because if you go ahead and give Mueller the opportunity to just go ahead and say, oh, yeah, you know, you did all this, you paid for all these things, but the IRS and the banks never notified you at all. How can you say that somebody deliberately committed crimes when nobody informed him from the banks to the government that he was committing crimes? You need a track record. Like, for example, not notifying Obama and deleting government records is an example of Clinton committing crimes. She knew what she was doing was illegal. That's why she didn't notify Obama. And she was told by the NSA, no, you cannot use that BlackBerry. Each step of the line, she said, they told her, no, you can't. No, you can't. Don't do it. She did it anyway. Even Uma was like, oh, you want to? No. Annabomb 31458. Hillary still runs the Dem because she has the goods. It's that simple. It's called fear. But Annabomb 31458, yes, it's true. But the goods, there's an expiration date. It's deteriorating. I mean, the power is like flows. There's a way to wield power where it's sustainable, and then there's the Clinton way where it's just, you know, smash everything, bully, smash, lie, commit crimes, get James Comey and Andrew McCabe and Peter Strzok and Lisa Page and all of them to cover up for you, get Bruce Orr and Fusion GPS and Ellie Orr and all that stuff to go ahead and fabricate based on a dumb dossier the DNC is getting sued by BuzzFeed for. Think about that. The one publication that's like, I'll do you a solid. I'll help you out, Democratic Party. I really love you. I'll go ahead and help you. I'll go ahead and help you. Look, we'll publish the Steele dossier. What? We're getting sued? That wasn't part of the equation. Yeah, you're getting sued. That's what happens when you know. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. There you go. Very simple. Pretty straightforward. High confidence in the judgments does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Adambomb 31458, thank you. Lying, but the crime of lying lying to the FBI about a crime that never took place shouldn't be a crime. I understand it is, but also the FBI was tainted beyond belief. Go to court, say, look, Peter Strzok was fired, Andrew McCabe's fired, James Comey's fired. You have the ODNI report, this assessment. Where's the evidence here of anything? Oh, but he lied to the FBI. He lied. Based on what? Based on the 302s that were probably altered. Based on what? High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. There you go. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. Pretty clear cut, pretty simple, pretty clear cut. There's really nothing to it. It's pretty clear cut, pretty simple. And that's it. I mean, George Papadopoulos was a young guy they thought they could go ahead and manipulate. They thought they could intimidate him. They went after everyone in their way. They were ruthless. And they're going to lose in the midterms and lose even more political power. They cheated Bernie Sanders. They fabricated a crime. They crushed people in their way. And they don't know how to wield power. They have no idea. Their political movement is going to be actually being destroyed from within. When I left the left, they hate themselves. There are people on the left who hate Bernie Sanders. There are people to the left of Bernie Sanders who think that he's racist. Hello? That's what the left is going through right now. There are people on the left that think that Bernie is racist. There are people to the left of Bernie that think he's racist. There are people to the right of Bernie, I'm with her crowd, who hate his guts. There are Bernie supporters who love, and my Bernie supporters here, I love you. I'm just giving my thoughts. Don't take it personal. I'm giving my thoughts. That's all. I'm not trying to. I love Bernie Sanders as a human being. As a human being. But what he did, you have to fight. You got to fight. Okay, I'm called crazy and insane all the time. But I back up my everything I say, all my articles, 1 million hyperlinks. You want to go down everything I say right now, backed up. Business Insider, The Hill. Okay? New York Magazine. You cannot go ahead and say that you stand for values when you're pushing a Russia myth that destroys all the values. If you're focused on Russia, you're not focused on single payer or the working poor or an equitable country or wealth inequality. That's what Bernie, bless his heart, never understood, doesn't get. When you play ball with the Democratic Party, it's like playing ball with the mafia or the mob or somebody who, if somebody has leverage over you, they're never going to relinquish that power. They're not going to suddenly say, well, I'll be fair with you, but just do what I want. They'll never be fair with you. Power understands one thing, power. Alexander M. Gonzalez, Ben Shapiro offered Alexander or Ocasio-Cortez $10,000. That is a campaign finance violation. The federal limit is $2,700. Ben Shapiro should know that it is illegal, so he could have been trying to set her up. No, but it's not a contribution to her campaign. It is money for an event. It's money for an event. If he actually wrote a check to the campaign, I mean, maybe you're right about that, but it was money for an event that would be, on his channel or, I mean, at this point, I don't think Ben Shapiro would willingly go to the Young Turks, have them pocket all the money. And, and then he said charity also, so. But I think that it's important to, like, for example, if you're a boxer, if you can go to Madison Square Garden, go to Madison Square Garden. If you're a painter, and you have your painting can be at the Louvre, go ahead. I mean, offering the money, I don't know if it's a violation. If she took the money, it would be a violation, actually. But either way, even if it's here's $1, let's debate. Well, isn't a life worth it? I mean, the whole thing is, and Alexander, thank you so very much. I'm not speaking directly at you. I respect you 1,000%, and I love the fact you watch this channel. I love the fact that you love Bernie. I love the fact that I have still progressives who watch me, even though, I'm like Satan to a lot of people on the left. And so, Alexander, thank you for watching always. It means a lot to me. But I'll say this. Alexander Ocasio-Cortez states that single payer saves lives. So you mean saving a life is not worth debating Ben Shapiro? Saving one life is not worth that? The millions of people who would watch? That's what the thing with the left. They're like, oh, I'm going to, defend against racism. Well, you're not. Okay, punching people doesn't do anything but promote someone to, they're like, I want to punch this bigot. The craziest people also do crazy things. Don't provoke insane people. That's stupid. And it doesn't, you're not going to like punch the hate out of somebody. That's a stupid thing. My guess is that Ben Shapiro will vote for Trump over Biden or whatever next election. I don't know if he voted for Trump this election, but I think he will vote for Trump. The biggest knock on Trump from conservatives is, oh well, he's boorish. Okay. But that's the point though, Alexander. Even if that's true, YouTube status is important. And I think that Ben Shapiro has national status too. But even, you got to understand, the young people of this, young millennials are leaving the Democratic Party. Democrats need millennials to come in. Like millennials are not like, oh, we love Maxine Waters. They watch YouTube. YouTube is very, very a big source of information. So if you can have that clash of ideas, that battle of ideas, you get that going. You educate people. Don't you want to like educate people and say, hey, single payer can work. Here's how. Hopefully, Scooter 77. Hopefully, is Julian Assange still going to testify? Any update on the Ecuadorian embassy kicking him out? I think thank goodness there's still negotiations ongoing. And I think that the tide is turning towards Julian Assange. And I believe that he will, the Senate reached out to him, so he will. And Rand Paul, by the way, said that he wanted immunity for Julian Assange. So Scooter 77, I think that the tide is turning in favor Scooter 77 Julian Assange, and I believe he will testify. Horace saw the clearly stressed out Mrs. Papadopoulos earlier. This is a horror show. What these power and control junkies are doing to people's lives without an ounce of remorse of human empathy. Exactly, Horace. And you know what? Like on CNN, like the message board, Alexander M. Gonzalez, and I'll get you Horace. They want to capitalize on her fame, but Alexander, respectfully, this is something I've heard on the left for so long. Oh, they just want to use a platform. But everyone has a platform. Everyone who has a platform already has a platform. So Ben Shapiro does not need Alexander Ocasio-Cortez. He's watched by millions. Candace Owens is a national figure. She's on Fox all the time. So these people they don't need Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Ocasio-Cortez needs to communicate her message. Or if somebody cares about single payer, they need to communicate their message to conservatives who are stuck in their ways. There aren't enough progressives to make it happen. There aren't enough Democrats to make it happen. And it will be blocked every single time. It'll never get through Congress ever, even with a majority. Even with a Democratic majority. I mean, fine, if you have a widespread Democratic majority in the Senate and the House, yeah. But not now. Democrats are a sinking ship. They're a sinking ship. And you won't even get Democrats on board because blue dog Democrats and Democrats in red states are not going to run on, your taxes will be increased. The whole thing with single payer was a ploy by establishment Democrats to say, here's a little reward. We'll do this for you, but get on board with the DNC. And eventually everyone who, not you, Alexander, but everybody who listens to the usual people who funnel all the progressive rage for 2 more years, they'll say, well, we hate Trump. We're going to vote for Biden. They'll never say, no, we're not voting. This is ridiculous. We want what we want, and we want to ensure the Democrats go toward that platform. And it's not just talking about it. It's, if you don't do it, we won't vote for you. Just like what could have happened with Bernie. Bernie's message has now been diluted. He's now pushing Trump Russia. It's like, but Horace, yeah, I agree with you. They think that wielding power is bullying, and I don't care. Like, all the hit pieces written on me, I don't care. It's stupid. It's actually a badge of courage. They think that like shaming, and they're like, oh, I'm going to dunk on you, I'm going to clown you. It's like, no, you're not. No. Like, one person had like a retweet of like thousands and thousands just because they said something, like they tried to counter something I said. It's like, if thousands of people are going to retweet something or a 2,000 or whatever, that actually is a source of pride. It's not like they're like, oh, you got burned. You got burned. It's like, no, I didn't really. Twitter is not. No. A sojourner, Ocasio-Cortez, in typical Democratic Socialist fashion, banned national media from her town hall meeting. Yeah, that was bizarre. Thank you, Rumi. I saw that. Thank you. A sojourner, yeah, I mean, it's, you just go ahead at a certain point. There's no ideas. There's no ulterior motives to debating ideas. You don't go ahead and say, oh, well, I'm not going to debate Ben Shapiro because Ben Shapiro really wants to expand his audience. With who? Progressives? He's not going to expand his audience with Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez's voter base. They don't listen to Ben Shapiro. There aren't enough Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, libertarians to have single payer, to get single payer through, not just Congress, but as an idea. You have to go ahead and say the transition from what we currently have now to all 300 million people will not destroy the country. No, I didn't find any safe space at all. I thought I had a safe space on the left, but that didn't work out because I wasn't a friend of the DNC, or I stated the truth, and nobody on the left, very few people on the left want to hear the truth, which is that Hillary Clinton controls the Democratic Party. And conservatives are not the alt-right. The alt-right, the alt-right are the crazy, like, anti-Semitic people who go on the channel, and just because I'm Jewish, they try to attack me. And the Trump voters, Alexander and everybody should realize, everybody on the left should realize, Trump voters defend me. Trump voters on this channel defend H.A. Goodman from the anti-Semitic trolls. I didn't get any defense on the left. On the left, it's like pure and unadulterated hatred of Israel, and it's like kind of also masked in some anti-Semitism also. It's not just critique. So, but that, look, at the end of the day, it's like, if Cortez doesn't debate Ben Shapiro, it doesn't help Ben Shapiro. It doesn't help Cortez not to. It helps Ben Shapiro. People who don't want single payer, people who think that single payer is not viable, they win because they're like, great. You know what? The people who will go ahead and want it, they'll just, they don't, there's not enough support in the country for it. I have no control of, but it's not all, there are no, YouTube doesn't have any alt-right ads. So if anything, YouTube censors extreme conservative views. So if you're talking about the CRTV, that is just a conservative channel. It's not just alt-right. But when Trump wins again and Republicans win again, and I'm warning everyone here, and to my Bernie voters, you can believe me, you cannot believe me, you can think I'm crazy, you can think I'm stupid, but I'm telling you, to my Bernie and to my Jill Stein voters who still watch me, the Democratic Party is going to try to destroy and attack and demean and bully. When they lose, they're going to blame Bernie Sanders, and they're going to blame his voters. They already did that in Ohio. Eric H526, everyone go ahead and subscribe to Eric H526's channel. Let me see, Eric, do you have a channel? Everyone, because he does video games, gaming. Oh, here's Eric's channel, everybody. Rumi Callis, thank you so much, Rumi. Rumi, thank you so very, very much. You're too kind. And I want to let you know you don't have to always do that at all. I'm just happy you you watch the channel. Thank you so very much. It really allows me to go ahead and do this. It really allows me to go ahead and do these live streams. And I just want to know that your contribution and your support is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Rumi Callis, thank you so very much, Rumi. Thank you so very much. And now, Rumi, you've made me. I was actually thinking of something last night, and I've articulated it before. But Rumi Callis, thank you so very, very much. We love and defend you. We support you, HA. Thank you, Rumi. Thank you so very much. And you can't go ahead and be something you're not in life and in politics. When Andrew Cuomo says America was never great, he's trying to be Cynthia Nixon, and Cynthia Nixon then clowned him and said, well, that's not what progressives think, even though a lot of progressives do think that way. But and my point, though, is that you have to be yourself. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and bring up my high school story with 30 people, 40 people, 50 people leaving within seconds. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I have 700 people. So I'm not going to talk about my buddy who would tackle people and all that stuff. Okay. But I'll do it in terms of comedy. So Chris Farley, okay, John Belushi. Chris Farley and John Belushi are two comedic geniuses, two of the best comics of all time. I love them both. And Rumi, you got me thinking to what I was thinking yesterday. I want to tell everybody. So Chris Farley and John Belushi, their brand of comedy does not work for a skinny person, for a person who doesn't have that personality, for a person who just doesn't have that vibe. If you try to go ahead and, a fan down by the river, and then John Belushi with drinking the whole whiskey at Animal House and all that, it's not going to work. Sam Kinison also. I love Sam Kinison. I love Sam Kinison. Sam Kinison is one of the great. Thank you, Alexander. Sam Kinison is one of the great. So you have Sam Kinison, you have John Belushi, you have Chris Farley. So bigger guys, different comedians. I would say Belushi and Chris Farley were closer together than Sam Kinison, perhaps. But all three of the great comedians of all time, you cannot duplicate them. They are unique in their way of being loud, being vibrant, being in your face. Sometimes you could say boorish. Sometimes you could say belligerent. Well, Sam Kinison was awesome, amazing. He was always in your face. And my point is, if you tried to duplicate them, a comedian that tried to duplicate them, who didn't, have that demeanor, have that look, have that kind of shtick in them, would bomb, would be a failure. It's a unique brand of comedy. You cannot duplicate because of who they are, because of what they look like, who they are, how they are able to just convey their, loud, boisterous. That's Trump. That's Trump. When people try to insult Trump and use profanity, and it just sounds like they're miserable, miserable, miserable people. By the way, here's Eric H526 again. Subscribe to Eric H526. You can't go ahead and you can't defeat Trump at his own game. So when Andrew Cuomo says America was never great, he's destroyed his political career. He will never become president now. Because I understand, I used to be on the left and I get it. And I understand, like, yes, there's introspection. Yes, it's okay. But it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And it's not a matter of, like, they don't know who they are. So Rumi Callis, thank you so very much. As always, Rumi. They don't know who they are. That's the problem. They have no clue who they are. Democrats are like, well, do we hate America? Do we love America? Are we patriotic? Are we not patriotic? Do we want to defend national security, or with, by pretending that we hate Russia, or by allowing Hillary to use an unencrypted server in her basement? What do we do? What do we do? What happens when we lose in Ohio? Oh, we set our sights on the Green Party. And if New York wasn't so corrupt and very likely corrupt, Cynthia Nixon could probably win. She might win, but you still have a Tammany Hall thing going there. How many tens of thousands of votes for Bernie Sanders were taken off the ballot? So you can't go ahead. You see people on Twitter. You see people trying to insult him, calling him a traitor. That doesn't work, because the whole thing, he's not a traitor. And you're talking about an insurrection. You're talking about a soft coup. Nothing to do with being a traitor. The people who committed crimes with the Democrats, they're still committing crimes. So everything's a euphemism with the left. Everything is, oh my God, we have to censor. Everything is, well, let's allow government to do this. But the Democrats took a giant poop on Bernie. If the Democratic Party can't even have a fair primary, what makes anyone think the Democratic Party would go ahead and usher in an era of single payer? They will never relinquish power. Power is not handed to the opponent. It's taken. Political power is not relinquished without a serious political fight. They will never let Bernie run, ever. There were already, I don't know if they passed it, but they were all like bylaws or saying, oh, you have to be a registered Democrat. They will never let Bernie run. And if he runs, he will be cheated again. They will never, ever let a progressive that exists now become nominee, ever. And all the media companies that say, oh, well, socialism's so great. And no. So George Papadopoulos should simply go ahead and read the actual intelligence reports to the judge. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. Bernie M. Gonzalez. Hey, I love the passion. Continue the passion. And I had that passion too once. A Sojourner, Chicago Dems, except for Rom, are asking for POTUS to help Chicago. Where is, yeah. Well, I told one of my friends, and he was like, oh, well, you know, they got the firearms from other states. Like, oh, my God, they never, ever accept defeat intellectually. Never, ever, ever. It's always an excuse. It's always never simple. Logic is like a horrible 5-letter word to Democrats. A Sojourner, as always, thank you so very, very much. Rumi Kalas, you're wonderful, and you don't have to do that all the time. Thank you so very much, Rumi. I want to let you know I appreciate you so much for just always watching, and you don't have to always do that, but thank you so very, very much. A Sojourner, thank you so much. Rumi Kalas, beautiful name, one of the great poets of all time. Rumi Kalas, thank you. Mueller probe is yet another failure. Democrats can't stop failing. They're complete failures. But they make a lot of money, so I give them that. Fundraising is a lucrative thing. The whole, well, you can't give to the campaign. Well, yeah, you can give to the Democratic Party. And then everything's funneled. It's all who you know. Campaign finance violations, funneling money to pay for the Steele dossier, all of these things. Let's just go ahead real quick. Midterm polls. Oh, yeah, Democrats. 6.8, except The Economist has the Democrats up 4. Isn't that hilarious? CNN, Democrats up 11. Quinnipiac, Democrats up 11. Economist is more subdued. Democrats up 4. What? Oh, Democrats up 4. Sorry. Democrats up 11. CNN. Quinnipiac up 9. Yeah. What? The latest poll, August 14th? This is after. Is that up 4? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Just up 4. Don't bring it up. Every time. They can't even win at rigging the polls. They can't even win at cheating Bernie. They can't even win at blaming Russia without evidence. They can't win. They can't win. They can't win. And it's going to be glorious when they get 20 seats or 15 seats or 21 seats. And they're like, oh, my God, we had a moral victory. Jim Jordan. Sorry. Jim Jordan, Speaker of the House. Enjoy your moral victory. I want them to blame Russia every single day. Russia! Thank you, Lucky. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you so much. I'll be here in a couple of hours. We'll have another nice segment. George Papadopoulos needs to go ahead and do the right thing and just withdraw any guilty plea. It's ridiculous. To my super chat, thank you so very much, A Sojourner, Rumi Kalas. Thank you as always, both of you. To my moderators, the regulators, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you very soon. Thanks, everyone.